the British terrorist. So you may remember the Bri-ish terrorist, who was a British man, British citizen, as every media reported.
We're now exporting terrorism around the world. Remember when they used to come from like Saudi Arabia or Afghanistan?
Pakistan.
Now they come.
Now they all come from Britain.
From Britain.
That specific part of Britain. That we can't mention, but instead we should get into the information here, because this is a story about the final phone call this guy made before he got shot by I believe it was the FBI outside. And there is a lot of debate whenever a terrorist incident happens, especially in the media, about whether or not they should show you the realities of what's taken place, whether it be footage or images or things like that. And this sort of comes under the same sense of should you show the phone calls. And I'm firmly in the camp of yes. If I'm in control, then that's something I would like to do. And so I thought we'd go through it, also because it now has been publicly released by the Jewish Chronicle. So you can see that. And the audio is revealing, and it also shows why Four Lions is kind of a meme reality. But also, you might remember people were kind of shocked by Four Lions at the time, that it was humanizing the terrorists. It was like, no, because terrorists are human. They're not aliens. So they are human beings, no matter how warped their views. And I thought we'd go through the backlog first, before we get to the audio, because if you just joined us, it won't make much sense, I don't think, unless we go through the backlog of information leading up. So, let's get the first article up from the Telegraph, and as you can see here, Texas synagogue siege, 2 teens arrested in Manchester as family of British terrorist reveal they spoke with him during the standoff. They say in here, US officials said he was demanding the release of Aafia Siddiqui, a Pakistani terrorist known as Lady Al-Qaeda, who is serving 86 years in a Texas prison for attempting to kill a US serviceman in Afghanistan.
Yeah, and she also plotted a terrorist attack on New York. Quite a big scale terrorist attack. And when she was sent to be arrested, I think the soldiers sent to arrest her, the FBI and the SWAT team or whatever, they didn't take it as seriously because she's a woman, and when one of them sat down and put his gun down, she grabbed the machine gun off him and rattled off some shots, and then was shot in the stomach and nearly died. But now she's recovered and she's incarcerated.
Yeah, but that's also the weird thing of her sentencing. She was only charged for that incident whilst they were arresting her for terrorism. She wasn't charged with terrorism. But that's because they didn't need to, because
86 years.
86 years probably enough
Yeah.
to kill someone. So
Yeah. Or she'll be rehabilitated at the end of it.
I'm sure she'll come out 130 or whatever. But if we go to the next link, this is the reporting on the time from the New York Times. And as you can see from the headline, US sees terror threat, Pakistani see heroin. Yes, tells us a lot about Pakistan. Suspected of having links to Al-Qaeda, she was convicted by a New York court in February of trying to kill American military officers whilst in custody in 2008 in Afghanistan. And the funny thing here, that she was named by, I believe, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed as being a financier for Al-Qaeda. So it's not like it was on bad intel either. It's like, okay, the guy running the 9/11 attacks has told us you're doing this. So let's go say hi. In Pakistan, she has become a national symbol of honor and victimization, so potent that politicians of all stripes, Islamists, the news media, and increasingly anti-American public have all lined up to champion her claim of innocence. She didn't do nothing, I'm sure. I really don't believe any of that. And we have, of course, the statements from the Pakistani leaders, because Pakistan is a totally normal country and not a rogue state like North Korea. Prime Minister Yusuf Raza Ghalani, who has described Miss Siddiqui as a daughter of the nation. This is after she shot the US Marshal. He's like, well, she's a daughter of the nation. She works for Al-Qaeda. She's a terrorist. Right. The opposition leader, Nazif Sharif, promised to have her released. And also, she had links to the Army of Muhammad, apparently. The Army of Muhammad is something I hadn't really heard about, and I checked out the Wikipedia this morning. It's hilarious, because if we go to the next link, we can just see the wiki page for Army of Muhammad here. And if you can scroll down, John, to the sponsors and state-sponsored, this is the funniest part. Just go back up. No, just where the flag is. So, up a little more, please. Just want to show where the flag is and the state-sponsors. So it says in here, state allies, Pakistan. Directly funded from Pakistan. Non-state allies, the Taliban and Al-Qaeda. Designated a terrorist group by the UK, US, blah, 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 and Pakistan. Every time Pakistan starts a terrorist group, and then it's like, oh God, what have we done? You started a terrorist group. What did you think you were doing?
And state opponents are India.
Yes.
So, yeah, because there's obviously a lot of friction between India and Pakistan. There's
Kashmir.
There's regular actual live fire exchange between troops on each side, which is quite exciting considering they're both nuclear-powered states. Nuclear-armed states.
But it's mostly the funny thing here of Pakistan being like, what if we fund terrorism to fight India? That'll never backlash on us. 10 years later, why did we get bombed by our own guys? Take a guess. Idiots. So let's go to the next link here. So we have the more information about MI5's knowledge on the guy, and they said that they knew the guy. So he had been placed on the British Security Services watch list as a subject of interest in 2020 and was investigated in the second half of that year. But by 2021, Akram, who had a criminal record in the UK, had moved from the active list to the former subject of interest list and was no longer considered a threat. Brilliant work from MI5 there. Rabbi Charlie Crichton White told the BBC partner CBS how he and 2 other hostages were able to get out without being fired or shot upon after he threw a chair at the hostage takers. That's since we did the episode that came out, which is great to hear, frankly. Just grab a chair, hit the guy, run for it. No one's damaged except the terrorist, which deserves. According to police sources, he is also to believed to be he brought the weapons used in the incident on the street after his arrival. There were a series of articles, I couldn't find them, probably because they deleted them now, which were trying to claim that this is an evidence of why we need gun control in the United States. And, he brought the guns off the street.
Yeah, but how did they get on the street? Where did they come from originally? Were they manufactured by a company, or were they made by gangsters?
That's an argument.
Manufactured by a company, and they made it onto the street.
But if you're going to make that argument, you have to go all the way to say we shouldn't have guns in the United States.
All I'm saying is, listen, I'm not in favour of... I love guns. My dad had a gun so big it's banned in America. But we've got tighter restrictions in the UK and far fewer shootouts and...
Sure, we also don't have a Second Amendment. So these things are going to be what they are. And, he did buy them off the street.
Just amend it again. It's an amendment. I mean, like, people talk about the Second Amendment. It's an amendment.
Yes.
Literally, it's in the word, amendment.
For what purpose?
It's not a second, set in stone for everything. It's an amendment.
It's for overthrowing the United States government when it becomes tyrannical. So, kind of set in stone, in my opinion, though.
The United States government will never become tyrannical. Also, you can't overthrow it. Remember January the 6th? When the biggest coup attempt in human history.
Yes.
Even some 86-year-old grannies with flags couldn't overthrow. So what hope have people with guns got?
You have got me there. Fair enough. But if we go to the next link, I also wanted to mention, because I'm mad at MI5 and for no other reason if not this one, because they keep failing. And here's another example of their failures, which is just them also hiring on the basis of race, not ability still, which I can't believe it's just still up. So if you can keep scrolling, John, until you get to the summer diversity stuff, because again, just summer diversity intelligence internship. To be able to apply for the Summer Diversity Intelligence Internship, you must answer yes to the following questions. Question number 1. I am from one of the Black, Asian, or minority ethnic backgrounds. There we are again. Okay. So we're hiring our spies, or at least our desk workers, based on their race, not their ability. Fantastic. Yeah. What's wrong with you, MI5? Moving on to the next one. So let's go to the next link, because we can also look at the politics on the ground, where this guy came from in Blackburn. And we played this clip before, but I especially wanted to show it to you because it's incredible, and a million people need to see it, frankly. I'm still ashamed that it only has 7,000 views, apparently, on YouTube. This is the politics on the ground in 1997. So let's play this clip.
In Blackburn, the message from one Labour van prompts decisive action from Geeta Sidhu.
Hello. The Labour Party is going around with a microphone at the moment, saying she's against Islam. She's not Muslim. She's not one of us. Don't vote for her because she's against Islam. And this is making it racist. It's making it personal, particularly considering the fact that my husband actually is Muslim. So we're just going to pull the gloves off. I'm going to get a car and walk around to drive through town telling everybody Jack Straw's a Jew. As a Muslim, I'm going to vote for someone who's Jewish. That's it. That's what happened, and that's what we're going to do about it. Yodi ko vote mat do, Jack Straw Yodi hai. Labour ko vote dena hai, Yodi ko vote dena hai. Yodi Musliman ke dushman hai. Yodi ko vote mat do. Sath mein khane de. Safed kagaz pe, sath mein khane de nishan lagao.
Yeah. So that's 1997.
What?
I don't think it's got much better. And for people listening, she was shouting in Urdu, of course, to her constituents, don't vote for Jack Straw because he's a Jew. Jews are the enemies of Muslims. Vote for me in the election.
Yeah, I mean, I know politicians do stuff like that, but you're supposed to do it in a subtle way, not overtly do it. There's a reason we've invented the phrase dog whistle.
Yeah. What's really weird is she got 25% of the vote.
Just 25%.
Only 25%.
I'm surprised after that call to arms.
Yeah, and she didn't have any repercussions put on her until she tried to run for mayor of London under the Lib Dem banner, and then the clip was released, and people were like, "Oh wait,
Well,
But
if she'd
the
she'd
thing was
probably
it-
have made it if she'd ran for Labour.
Maybe she would have got more votes. I don't know. But that's the level of local politics there, as it being an Islamist place in the country. You can openly campaign on don't vote for Jews because they're the enemies of Muslims, and the opposition is campaigning on don't vote for her because she's not pro-Islam enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is the kind of politics you want? Really? Is that what we have to be having discussions on national level in 10 years? I don't want to.
I've got to be honest. The rule, like the changes that New Labour made, like the faith schools, it just breeds division in society right from the youngest age. So if you go to an Islamic faith school or a Catholic faith school or whatever, they're basically madrasas teaching you that you're the chosen people and everybody else is dirty and unclean. And that's why you get things like the grooming gangs in Rotherham and Rochdale and Oxford and all the rest of it, because people are told you're the chosen people. These people are the unclean, the infidels. So you can do what you want to them.
The religious supremacism.
Yeah. I mean, if it was white people doing it, somebody would do something about it because it's racist and it's completely, it's the worst of human.
Well, it's inciting racial hatred, frankly.
Yeah,
Religious hatred.
and acting on it as well.
Yes. And I thought we'd also mention, because that's the local politics, it wasn't for no reason that I mentioned that. This article here from Vote Watch also released, apparently, that he worked for the Labour Party, like the terrorist worked for the Labour Party. They're saying here. Vote Watch can exclusively reveal that the British Islamist shot dead after taking hostages in a synagogue in Texas was an active member of the Labour Party in Blackburn and a close relative of Blackburn Labour councillor Mohammed Ifran. Pakistani media released an interview saying, as soon as the news emerged of Faisal's involvement in the hostage-taking, the local Blackburn council issued a request to all local councillors not to speak to the media. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could we coordinate with people to try and find out what's going on? No. Let's not say anything.
Yeah.
Right. A former local Labour activist from Blackburn told Vote Watch, quote, Malik was very active in the community, a very well-known person here. Although I would never have predicted he'd get involved in something like this, there is a big problem in the local Labour branch with anti-Semitism and within the community in general. This hate needs to end. And as we can see there, that candidate screaming about Jews, she was the Conservative candidate. I mean, this is how in rife this area is with anti-Semitism. That
Yeah.
both candidates end up or at least both branches there, seem to be infested with anti-Semitism. That's the situation on the ground. So, if we go to the Jewish Chronicle, because they have the audio, and I think this will finally now make sense, they have the story here. So, a couple of things first to note from this article before we play it. He's talking, so the terrorist is talking to his brother, who is in a police station. So, his brother's trying to talk him down, because he's working with the police. And one of his younger brothers died 3 months ago, reportedly from COVID. So, he'll be referencing that. So, if we go to the next link, you can find the full audio at this YouTube link, but let's play the first clip.
Hello.
Assalamualaikum. Hello.
Assalamualaikum.
What's going on, man?
Yeah, I'm in America. Yeah, I thought I'll just kiss my last goodbye to you, innit?
Well, what's happened?
Yeah, I've took some hostages on. Yeah, I've been surrounded by all my men. I'm in a synagogue. Yeah.
But why are you doing that, man? Why are you doing that for? You know what's wrong with you?
Don't worry about it. Yeah, just you don't worry about what I'm doing. You just do what you gotta do. Yeah, I've come to die.
Why
but,
you come to
but
die
I
for?
need to do that.
Why are you
I've
doing
come to die. I'm gonna take them toe to toe. Anyway, listen.
But why,
I
yeah?
just rang you. Yeah, if I
But
listen, I promise. No, it's not guna. You want to read what is guna and what ain't guna, okay? I promised my brother when I watched it on that deathbed that I'm gonna go down as a martyr. I ain't gonna let no motherfucker suppress me. I'm surrounded by all mommy, right? I'm in a synagogue. I've got 4 beautiful guys, Jewish guys with me, right? They're trying to play ball with me. I've told them, bring her here. She's got 84 years. They're talking to her because I'm near the prison, FMC Carswell. I'm bombed up. I've fucked every ammunition. I've only been here 2 weeks, right? I've got them all at gunpoint. I'm going to die. I've told them I'll release these 4 guys. I'll come on the yard and I'll have a toe-to-toe with you. Shoot me dead. Shoot her dead. Because I'm dead and she's dead. She's 84 years, right? They've him dead. So you know what? I've just rang you to say, yeah, if I said anything wrong to you, I'm sorry. I've told my kids to man up. Don't cry on my funeral. Don't cry on my funeral, because guess what? I've come to die, G.
But yeah, come on.
Okay? I prayed for Allah for 2 years for this.
I mean, firstly, we can see what kind of British accent, which is the Ruperdingy Rapids British accent from 4 Lions. It's just in it, mate. I've come here to die for Allah. Okay. The meme film is becoming reality. yeah, I suppose that is reality. Also, the point's there that, of course, some outlets try to go with this has nothing to do with Islam. It has nothing to do with Judaism as well, which, no, he's clearly religiously motivated, so we can put that to bed.
Yeah, I never understand why people always say, oh, these people don't represent Islam, when they're literally... They say themselves, they're calling themselves the Islamic State or,
The army of Muhammad.
Yeah. It's like, I think they know what they identify as, so we shouldn't be projecting their beliefs onto them.
The Lord's Resistant Army has nothing to do with Christianity. Okay. But also the point there being made, which is a British man, and this is why it is a comedic joke to call him a British man, even though he's got the accent, let's say, of a particular area of Britain, is because, do you remember how her case that he's referencing was such a big issue in British politics?
No.
It's not. It's an issue of Pakistani politics.
Yeah.
The Pakistanis believe, or at least the government does, that she's done nothing wrong because it's Pakistani government, and the Americans don't. They think she's a terrorist.
Yeah, and this isn't the first time people on the sort of Islamist side of the fence have tried to bust her out. So when Jack Foley, he's an American journalist, he was seized by either Al Qaeda or ISIS, and they offered to exchange the Jack Foley for
Aafia Siddiqui.
Lady Al Qaeda. Yeah, and the Americans refused, and then they beheaded Jack Foley.
Anyway, let's play the next clip. So this is the last part of it.
I'm telling you, either you come for it or they send it. I'm coming back home in a body bag. I'm telling you. I know what I'm doing, I'd rather live one day as a lion than 100 years of a jackal.
By you dying.
Yeah, who gives a Listen to me. Listen to me. Allah said, I've asked Allah for this death, and guess what? Allah's with me. And Allah's with me, man. I'm not worried. I'm not worried the slightest. I don't even flinch, man.
You don't need to do this, whatever you're doing, man. Just pack it in, You'll get a bit of time and you'll come out. Manny's come back to Black. Do you know what I mean? He's come back last week. Do you know what I mean? He's done his time. Whatever you're doing, man. Think about your kids, man. Think about these people.
No.
These guys are innocent, These guys you've got there, they're innocent people, man.
They will never take another woman from a Muslim. I'm opening the doors for every youngster to enter America and with them. Why does Afghanistan always have to have a defensive war? Why can't these thick Taliban enter America and have a defensive war? Why do we need these fuckers to come to our country and do battle, and we can't come in their countries? They're coming to our countries, rape our women, our kids, and we can't come in their countries and them. So you know what? I'm setting the precedent today. I'm setting the precedent that you. You know what? You ain't gonna get away with it anymore. Even if they don't release Dr. Aafia, who gives a they let James Foley die. They didn't let James Foley, they let him die and they didn't release him. But guess what? Maybe they'll have compassion for Jews. But guess what? I'm opening the doors for every youngster in England to know, let your life go, you cowards. But come in America and with them if they want to fuck. They'll give them war.
That's
Anyway, I'm getting off.
I like how he's worried about his minutes.
Yeah.
You know?
It's international cool, bro. I can't do it more. It's very strange. But you can see his ranting there and his arguments. And we don't have too much time, so I will skip over this one because it's just a hadith, which everyone should go and read. But apart from that, he mentioned in there that the part of his reasoning was that they come to our countries and we don't go to their countries and cause war, and therefore we should do it. As if that solves anything, but whatever. And the point he made in there that they come to our countries and rape and kill kids, and I don't know what the hell he's referencing. I'm going to take a stab in the dark because there are two incidents I can think of. So there are occasional incidents like this one here. So this is an incident in Iraq in which some American servicemen went out and I believe they killed the parents and then raped a couple of the kids. Right. And well, what happened? Well, we put them on trial and sentenced them all to prison and life. So there's justice. I mean,
it's obviously a terrible thing.
I mean, we could kill them if you want. I mean, I'm not opposed to that either. But.
Yeah, it was a terrible thing, but I mean, it was recognised. It wasn't celebrated. It was dealt with our criminal justice system.
It's not culturally accepted. Yeah. Whereas, if we go to the next one, this could be what he's referencing. This is a story: U.S. soldiers told to ignore sexual abuse of boys by Afghan allies. So the U.S. turned them in Afghanistan, in which noncery was the norm, and we overthrew the Taliban and instead put another bunch of guys in charge who were not heterosexual nonces, but homosexual nonces.
Yeah. but they don't see it as nonsense. This is interesting. So one of my mates, so comedians used to go out and do shows for the troops in Afghanistan, Iraq, and all these places. Unfortunately, you know, we've ended a lot of the wars, so we really need some new wars so I can get out there and go in a helicopter and make some money. But yeah, so he was out in Afghanistan doing shows for the troops, and so they're working with the Northern Alliance. And then, you know, one night they're having the British guys have a party or whatever, and the Northern Alliance guys were having a party as well. And he said this like 14-year-old kid with like eye makeup, you know, mascara or what the call or whatever it's called, on turns up and he's like got bells on his feet and all the rest of it, and he dances for them, and then they all shag him. And
that's the locals for you.
That's just what they do, but they don't see it as, you know, they're still like very got a very homophobic culture. It's just, you know, they've got this thing. It's not seen as gay, and they got this thing in other parts of the Middle East where women are for babies, men are for fun. That's the saying. But it's not seen. It's not seen as gay if you, like, you know, marry a man or something like that. But this isn't seen as gay.
Sure, but it's also the noncery aspect in it, which he was referencing. Saying
This kid that turns up with the bells on his feet was like 14.
The accusations don't make any sense because you're just looking at it as like, okay, yeah, the locals are doing that, not the U.S. Army.
Yeah.
And well, could we talk about what, as he puts it, the forces from over there come over here and do to our kids? Not so much. That's not allowed now, is it?
Yeah.
But that's the story.
But have there been any instance of Pakistani Muslim men like being child abusers?
No idea.
We're not allowed to talk about it. And if anybody does talk about it, they're far right extremists.
I assume there are just hordes of Gaz and Daves living in Pakistan, just grooming kids, maybe by the dozens, specifically targeting Pakistani Muslim youth. No.
In a sort of, probably in a racist way, because they see those people as subhuman because they're racist.
The reverse does not take place, I am sure. And everyone can see through that. But there's the story. So there's the call, the information around it, and what a messed up situation. If you enjoyed that segment from the podcast, The Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to subscribe to get access to all the premium content we have on the site, such as this article, How the Irish Became White Supremacists by John Tangney, and there is an audio track for people who don't like reading, which I can very much sympathize with. That is for silver and gold tier members. But if you'd like to find out what else is coming out on the website, you can always follow us on Getter. For example, you can go over and follow Thomas at Thomas Dowling on Getter. Thank you and goodbye.